Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time space this tutorial may find you. This is a follow-up of our earlier engagement on professional ethics or our CPD program, and we said it's lifelong learning. So there is a need to take away something so that wherever you may find yourself, you may be going through and you may continue your learning, of which we already indicated that CPD is lifelong learning, such that this document will help you, aid you, or wherever you find yourself to continue your learning process. So at this juncture, I would just want to pause to give room for you to get your writing device or your writing material or any other device that you are using, be it your phone, be it a laptop or a tablet or whatever may be relevant for you to keep notes of whatever you are coming to learn. Now, as we earlier indicated, this is professional ethics, and professional ethics simply underpins two main things, which is the National Teachers Standards and the GES Code of Conduct. These are the two main documents that support our teacher professionalization in GES. So this narrative or this session that we are having will focus mainly on teacher professionalism, and these things that we are going to learn or we are going to unlearn and relearn have been outsourced for the National Teaching Council, from the Ghana Education Service, and of course your service provider, National Council of Private School Teachers, or NCOPS. This is a feather in the cap to help you to also realize your professional development, and not to end there, but also to stress the need that I know by now you've gotten your writing devices, and I believe I have the go ahead to continue. I'm your master trainer and a facilitator as well. So thank you very much, and let's join in to learn together. All right. So as we earlier indicated, professional ethics entails the National Teachers Standards and the Ghana Education Service Code of Conduct. For purpose of this narrative, we focus mainly on teacher professionalism. Okay, so now this is a mandatory course. And when we say mandatory course, per the CPD framework final reviewed, we have 21 mandatory courses. And these courses, we are mandated to do them. And professional ethics happens to be the 17th. You know, we have mandatory courses, recommended courses, and rank-based courses. Rank-based are courses that are based on your rank that you need to pursue, be it principal superintendent, assistant director 2, and on and on. Then recommended courses are courses that you have been recommended based on the peculiar need that you need to pursue. All right. So the outline of our presentation will mainly deal with the history of teacher professionalization in Ghana. And as we delve into it, we'll be looking at why the need for teacher professionalization in Ghana. Then also, what institution is responsible or is mainly responsible for this whole process. Now, we'll be looking at the leadership and the steps taken so far. We're delving into standards, the licensure examinations, the stakeholders engagement, and ongoing programs. Then also, what is the role of teacher training institutions? What challenges are being faced, and what is the way forward? All right. Now, we are going to delve into some of the stands of teacher professionalization. Now, Gerald and Roberts in 1995 were putting it across that how could, and I'll be very glad if we could read together, how could teachers organize strikes and still claim they are members of a professional association rather than a union? What do you think about it? Please write it down. What do you make of this? Just ponder and reflect. how could teachers organize strikes and claim they are members of a professional association rather than a union? So here, Gerald and Roberts were trying to portray the fact that most often than not, strikes are the sole responsibility of unions. And if you could put Ghana into perspective, for that matter, GES, you could see that most of the strikes that has been declared is declared by either the National Association of Teachers, the NAT, National Graduate Association of Teachers, the NAGRAT, Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT, and the other unions. In that, professional associations normally have professional engagement such that if you have any grievance, be it the conditions of service, be it your an attack, you have appropriate means to seek redress. So most often than not, why don't you use the appropriate means? Of course, strikes are entitled. As a labor union, you are entitled to strikes. So here it's wanted to put across that the sole responsibility of strikes is under the auspices of the unions. And for that matter, when you are saying, if you say you are a professional, then it deems that you can't organize strike. But they just want to portray the fact that anytime we are going on a strike, we push our professional outlook down and we take up our union outlook. That is the perspective being portrayed here. Now, apart from that also, another perspective of this is that it portrays that in a professional world, you need to engage yourself professionally, such that whatever grievance that may beset you, you go through the appropriate channel to seek redress. All right, then also, we could also say that what Gerard and Roberts can also be portrayed that anytime there's a strike in GES, and of late it has been very clear cut that most often than not, head teachers are assigned that you are to report at school and make sure that you take care of the school because you are for management and you are not against management. So you see that GES always put that professional outlook and they handle it through their head teachers or the head teachers or the head of the unit. The head of units means you're talking about the head of the school. So they are always tasked that make sure that you continue going to school to ensure the safety of the learners and to ensure the safety of the school property. So here, GES is trying to take down the professional outlook, while teachers have put down their professional outlook and they are taking their union outlook to embark on strikes. All right. Also, checks from Google have portrayed references in two folds: teaching as a profession and teaching as occupation. Please kindly indicate which of these two searches is more than the other. So we have teaching as a profession, look at the number of searches. Teaching as occupation, look at the number of searches. Which of these two would you say has more searches than the other? All right, your guess is as good as mine, which is teaching as a profession. Here, you could see that most often the idea of teacher professionalization, we see teaching as a profession rather than as an occupation. Here, seeing teaching as a profession means that we see it as a service that contains a body of knowledge, a skill set that you are doing it in order to develop learners so that they have the set skills in order to function in society. But teaching as occupation is more of a selfish, in quotes, interest, whereby you are doing the thing for the money that you are being paid. Of course, everybody works to get some money, but the idea, the rationale behind you as a teacher is not because of the reward, but rather, and here when I say reward, I mean monetary reward, but rather that professional look that you are trying to engage yourself in. So that is teaching as a profession and teaching as occupation. Occupation is more or less monetary oriented and profession is more or less service oriented. All right. So further to that, Jennifer Robertson, and please, where would you say, or who is Jennifer Robertson? Google, or you could as well look at where she's coming from. All right, thank you very much for doing that. And I told you we are learning together, so hand in hand we continue. All right, so he tried to put it in perspective that familiarity with teaching, almost every individual has one time, or most often at a point in time, had an association with a teacher. And this has made the teaching profession look as if, that's always, they always say familiarity breeds, please complete, familiarity breeds, sorry for that. Is that we see? I won't continue. If you can't, go and find out the next, the word that will end that. So because we are so familiar with the teaching profession, it's like most often than not, people take it as if, oh, everybody can be a teacher. Let's just oppose this with the medical field. With a doctor, you can't just assume you can be a doctor. I mean, it looks as if because their service is more or less result oriented, immediate result oriented. So you prescribe a wrong drug at that moment, the person will die at that particular moment. But what about the teacher? You teach the person the wrong, it's going to reflect, but probably not at that particular moment, but sometime or a point in time in the person's life. So this also has made a thing look like, oh, teaching there is not a profession. But all these times is just to bring the mindset that our teaching, our service that we are rendering is a profession. For that matter, we must take it upon ourselves to live with the national teachers standards, read it, as well as the GES code of conduct, so that we portray ourselves as such. It is in this that our bargaining powers can be used, so that we can use it to bargain for better conditions of service and all those things. So you could see that what we are trying to portray is that we need that professional outlook to fight for our better things. Such that most often than people say that the teacher's reward is in heaven. Okay, I don't want to complain. I know anytime that statement is made, there are two major statements that follows. Should I tell you? I know you know. Ask your friend. Probably he or she will tell you. They say if I don't make, I don't want to complete that one. There's another one too. What if I go to? Okay, so that is just on the lighter side. So in that, any profession is modeled on some. It's modeled, and here you know that there are some elements that ascribe to professionalism or professionalization, and these we are going to delve into the traits model and instructional functionalism. So the traits model is a model, model, when we say a model, it simply means a collection of concepts and ideas that underpins a certain phenomenon. So here we are looking at the traits model, and the traits model is trying to talk about the personality. When we say a service is a profession, what are the personalities that must be portrayed? What is the personal, the behavior? What is the conduct? What is the attitude that must be portrayed? And here we are going to look at the 6 points. So the first one is that anything that can be classified as a profession is skill based on abstract knowledge. What are some of the abstract knowledge in the teaching profession? Now you are given a curriculum to implement. I mean, the curriculum, when you are in college, in school, we are always say the curriculum, the sum of all the conscious and unconscious aspects that you are doing in the school. It sounds so abstract, but when it goes to the field, you see that it is very practical. The time of going to school to teach punctuality, the things that you are learning, all these things they look seemingly abstract, but practically concrete. So that's why we are saying that it's like a skill based on abstract knowledge. Then every profession goes through a training and education, and it's usually associated with a university or accredited by a university. And as we also want to put across, there is certification based on competency testing. So after your service, you are given a certificate, right, from the days of set A to the days of diploma to currently degree. So this should also be telling us something why we need to be doing our continuous professional development. We said it's lifelong learning. That is why we're having a piece like this, so that you can also continue to learn wherever you may find yourself. There's a formal organization. And what is the organization that you and I find ourselves? Please, what is the organization that you and I find ourselves? So you could see if you can write that organization. It starts with letter, please, letter what? Letter, I just wrote it in the air. I know you didn't see it, but it's Jim. So GS. Very good. And congrats for doing that. All right. Thank you. All right. And apart from it being a formal organization, there is also adherence to a code of conduct, the GES code of conduct. And I know I'll meet you again to go through the GES code of conduct. Then there is also what? Altruistic service. And here, when we say altruistic service, the word sounds some way view. All right. What's the meaning of altruistic service? Consult your dictionary, consult Google. It just means, yes, are you thinking the meaning, or you are just waiting for me to say something? Please go and learn or relearn or unlearn. Okay. All right. So altruistic service simply means that a selfless service, like with a teaching, whatever profession that you are rendering, it is seen that even though you are being paid, the the bottom line is that you are rendering a service for which whatever amount that is being given to you cannot be quantified to commensurate with the service that you are rendering. The doctor can be called at any time to pursue a service, and that's why they swore that oath. What about the teaching? So here it's trying to portray that in order for you to assert yourself as being a professional, you need to be giving these services. It's part of the model of professionalization. That is why sometimes if your head teacher calls you at that odd hour to do this, to do that, please let us focus and see it as it's part of our service, it's part of our professionalism. In fact, the old teachers will always tell us that even at their time during vacations, they were being called here and called there and all those things. They were supposed to report to the school and all that. Of course, those are days of old. But in our modern world, whereby communication is very immediate, we still need to involve ourselves in altruistic services. All right. Further to that, that was the traits model. We are going to look at the structural functional model. And here we are talking about the profession functions like a structure. There's an organogram. There is what? An organogram, there is authority, there are subordinate authorities, there are delegations of power, and it follows that organogram functions. So in your school, you must make sure the organogram is working. It's not like people have taken up their roles and they are not working, or somebody is the assistant head and is not being given the task to portray himself. And if I may ask, what role do you play at your school or at the educational office that you find yourself? All right. Are you functioning that role, or you are giving to someone, or someone is taking up that role for you? So in all that, there's code of conduct. So in order to portray ourselves as professionals, why not? For some time, there was this very concerted effort to have all educational offices having an organogram. And it's very evident now most educational offices have that pasted. What about our school settings? All these things gives that professional outlook of the GES. and we must take it upon ourselves to ensure that. So basic school heads, please see an organogram in your office that has assigned roles to all the individuals, people who are taking up that role. Anytime you go to any corporate institution, you will always see those things there. Those things are part of our professionalism. And because we are taking up this course or this role, we need to ensure we do that. Okay. Now, there are various proponents who argue that doctors have power of life and death, and that unscrupulous people, as we earlier indicated, that the doctor's role is quite immediate. The accountant's role is also quite immediate. What about the teacher? In that, we are trying to say that there should be a concerted effort to always see ourselves as professionals. They shouldn't monopolize it to look as if like we know everything. No, a professional creates that element of need and offers that service for all and all. All right. So apart from that, Alberta's Teachers Association, they also portray some criteria that portrays teaching as a profession. And here that you are equipped with a body of knowledge that we have learned through our studies. And these are based on research of old and research of new. And that we are weighted on what? On social purpose. Why? What are we saying? We are trying to say that a code of conduct guides us, and please make sure you read the code of conduct. And as I said, we'll be going through that one as well. In that there is cooperation, and it plays a major role in our development as teachers. In doing all these things, we are governed and we socialize, and research is connected with our profession. That is why every profession, that is why every institution, be it the diploma level, the graduate level, or the postgraduate level, you pursue a research. It is part of our professionalism. Even on the field, through our portfolio building, we are encouraged to do research to identify problems, put in intervention, find the results. Is it working? Is it not working? Are we replicating the research? All these are part of our professional outlook. All right. In doing all these things, we have the presets and inserts. Preset simply means you have been prepared before you assume or given posted to be a teacher. So every professional that outlook, and inserts as you and I are communicating wherever you may find yourself. And inserts, we are talking about what's the full meaning of insert? INSET. What's the full meaning? Please kindly write it. Okay, in service training. You are in the service and you are training. So that is inserts. All right. In that, there is what? Formative and summative assessment. In decision making, in whatever you are doing, you need to assess to see the extent for which learning is taking place. And assessment is taking place both formative and summatively. With all these things at hand, we are saying that we are guided by the National Teachers Standards, the Ghana Teacher Licensure Exams, licenses of which most of us, Constitution of Professional Development, the Code of Ethics and Professional Practice. Now, as we earlier indicated, that teacher licensing involves what the training that you have acquired, you are now in service, and you have been issued with a license to operate. So you could see this is part of our professionalism. You need to be licensed. other sectors, they take those professional examinations and they are certified or they are licensed. These are the only ways that can give us better conditions of service, and we must grasp this opportunity and partake in continuous professional development such that we have that professional outlook, such that the politicians and others who are in powers there be will see the need to also support us in terms of better conditions of services, in terms of having that professional or respective outlook, if I may say. All right, so why teacher professionalization or professionalism in Ghana? Now, even though there are a number of teacher training institutions, the untrained teachers are very alarming, and it's very, very alarming. Look at the number of private schools that have been built, springing out at each corner. Most of the teachers there are untrained. So can you imagine the impact of that? In the nursing or in the health sector, these things are not common as in teaching. So there is a need to have that concerted effort to have professionalism. And thanks to NTC and thanks to the stakeholders there be, you could see there's recently there has been a portal created for them to also take on that professional outlook by going through the teacher professionalization process. So you could see the teaching profession is being professionalized, and for that matter, you and I cannot afford to be left behind. We must all grasp this opportunity to ensure our professionalism is moved on to the latter. All right, in doing all these things, we have issues of certification, and since 2018, it was missing. Teachers were not being licensed, and thanks to the metamorphosing of Teacher Education Division to National Teaching Council under the Education Regulatory Bodies Act, we now have the National Teaching Council, and which is taking up that role, and also there are now regulatory bodies that are ensuring that these things are done to the latter. Now, as we earlier said, the Education Act 2008, Act 778, mandated NTC, which is the most recognized institution or which is taking on the leading role in ensuring teacher professionalism in Ghana. And indicated over there is the website for which you must constantly visit. And currently, there are so many courses, e-learning courses that you can take up on your own to gain credit points and for continuous professional development, teaching a digital age, using multimedia, cybersecurity, and recently the differentiated learning program that is being undertaken. All these courses can be done voluntarily in the comfort of your home or wherever you may find yourself. So what is the function of National Teaching Council? Per the Act 1023, Education Regulatory Bodies Act, the NTC is tasked to develop periodic reviews for the standards, and that is why we have the National Teachers Standards. And these documents will also be accessed on the platform. I know probably you are not on the platform, but Google is there. Google is National Teachers Standards, and make sure you abreast yourself with the standards and live professionally, work professionally. All right. So their duty is also to regulate continuous professional development programs. That is why we have the Teacher Portal Ghana. That is why we have portfolio building. That is why all these things are geared towards giving the teaching profession that professional outlook. So these are the processes of teacher professionalism in Ghana. So we have the initial training. Then through the initial training, you have whether the 3 years or the 4 years, you are certified or you write a professional examination, you're given the initial license, you are inducted, you go to the induction process, for which days of old they may say the confirmation process. Then you are given the full license. Then you can register for CPD programs and partake in e-learning programs. And then the cycle continues and you are due for license renewal. So these are the CPD deliverables. In having a continuous professional development, what are we talking about? The teacher logbook. And please make sure you are having your teacher logbook at hand, and any workshop or any training that you partake, you make sure it is recorded as such in it. We also have the Teacher Portal Ghana, which has the service providers and has the database, and it entails all the necessary details for your continuous professional development. And now recently they have the thing to download your CPD transcript, which will display all the trainings that you have gone through in your CPD year. Then you have the comprehensive teacher database, for which with your card your card can be scanned and it will portray all that you have learned on sorry it will your card, the QR code, the quick response code on your card. If you scan it with your phone or any device, it's going to portray the district that you are, the time that your license will expire. Then we have insert framework, for which it was recently developed for the early childhood educators. Then also compliance framework, comprehensive national teacher policy, and portfolio rubrics. At a later time, we'll be going to the portfolio rubrics as well. All these things are part of our CPD, or continuous professional development, of which we said it is live. Please continue. Long learning. Thank you for your input. All right. In doing this, Ghana is not an independent country on its own concerning teacher professionalization. Everything is being done with a global outlook. UNESCO has the CPD has a framework for teacher education. This framework has been adopted by the African Union. So this is the professional outlook from the African Union's perspective. So there's initial teacher education, there's professional registration and licensing, there should be an induction and mentoring, accreditation, CPD, and teacher prize. And here, so this is the African perspective, and you could see Ghana is also moving in that direction to move with the global village, such that the teacher in Ghana is as professional as the teacher in Kenya, as professional as the teacher in Nigeria, as professional as the teacher in UK, Canada, Australia, or any other country you may find yourself. So a little on teacher prize. Please, at the school level, at the end of a year, you could just organize something and show some appreciation for maybe the most punctual teacher, the most regular teacher, and of course, the stubborn academy, those teachers. Probably you could also sanction them small, give them something, something as a reward, as a reinforcement, or if I may say positive reinforcement or a negative reinforcement, just to see, just to give that outlook for them to also back up. You are making progress, and I hope you are noting things down and you are learning and you are unlearning. So this is the Ghana standards to meet the ASU standards. All right, so kindly compare. You can reverse and compare whether we are meeting the standards or we are digressing. All right, thank you very much. So these are the steps taken so far, and most of these steps have been outlined: the teacher licensure examination, license and registration of teachers, CPD, the development of CPD deliverables, the national teachers standards for pre and in-service teachers, online teacher registration. So all these things are being done for our professional outlook. or they are done and they are continuing to be done over and over again. So, and these websites, can we all read tpg.ntc.gov.gh? All right. So these are issues of our licensure, and these portals should be visited as often as often. In all these, what is the steps for pre-service teachers by NTC? So here they collect data of pre and indexing of teachers after matriculation, and this is what this data is taken from the training colleges of education, either from the university or from the independent colleges of education. Then there is updates on that, and it's used towards conduct teacher licensure examination, and provisional licenses are issued. Then induction of professional licensed teachers, assessment of licensed teacher portfolio. You know that the assessments, portfolio assessment started with newly trained teachers or newly qualified teachers, and now it is part of every teacher portal Ghana. And please visit the portal so that you know what is required of you to upload. And at the opportune time, we'll be going through all these things because this is what a lifelong learning. All right. So as we earlier indicated, the National Teachers Standards has been captured. They how to renew your license. They are captured on page 34 to page 35. Ongoing programs. As we earlier indicated, the NTC is collecting data of both pre-service and in-service teachers. There is licensing and registration. There is mapping and certification of CPD, and CPD providers have been mapped such that you are restricted to this region or this districts. So that is it. The implementation of the Ghana teacher price reforms, and the packages have now been upgraded. Houses and cars for the house for the first and car. Also, teacher licensure examination. The papers are now being serialized. So serialize, your number one is different from my number one, your number two is different from my number two. And recently they just ended African Federation of Teacher Regulatory Bodies. So here NTC and other teacher regulatory bodies in other countries across Africa met to deliberate on best practices and the best way forward, and to concert to ensure that the African teacher is professional and is having that global outlook as the teacher in the UK or USA, US of A. Then portfolio management and assessment on Teacher Portal Ghana. So on the portal, you need to upload certain evidence base of your profession, be it your learning plan, be it your scheme of work, be it the learner's work, and other relevant documentation that must be uploaded. There is a now currently review of the PD points, for which that is in stakeholder level, and I repeat, this stakeholder level such that the PD points, professional development points, are being now pegged at 20. So if you are a PS, you need 20 to upgrade to the next level, AD2, and if you're AD2, you need 20 to upgrade to AD1. And of course, there has been some observations that every teacher's role, and these comments I want to reserve it for now. All right. So then also the SBIs and CBIs. Now you know the head teachers have been given the station role, whereby the window is opened, the head teachers can log in and look at the PLC attendance for PLC attendance and use it to credit your points. And also the directors who have been given that login status, whereby the director can log into Teacher Portal Ghana, and based on the cluster-based in-service that has been done, or based on the district-based in-service that has been done, or based on the departmental based in-service that has been done, they can credit PD points. And of course, we talked about the CPD transcripts. We've also talked about the e-learning courses on Teacher Portal Ghana. All right, and now the teacher license certification program has now been have been assigned or has been ascribed to subject specific or subject area of specialization. And also the examination is now exclusive for both, that is 2022 one is exclusive to Bachelor of Education degree holders and holders of postgraduate diploma in education. All right, all right. So what's the role of the teacher training institution? They have to prepare to sit for teacher license exam, submit pass lists, and also support NTC to reach out to students. All right. In doing these things, all that the NTC is trying to do is to align teacher training programs with national teaching standards, and also collaborate with NTC to use their facility to write teacher license examination. So these are the roles of the teacher training institutions to ensuring that the teacher comes out as professional, as 100% professional. And basically, what are the components of the teacher license examination? Please write the components. What are the components of Ghana teacher licensure examination? All right, thank you very much. So in registration, these are the documents required, and kindly note any of these documents down. Note them down. Probably you might be relevant to aiding a junior brother or junior sister to also register for licensure examination. So in comparing the professional teacher and the professional standing, these are the elements that have been taken so far. Since 2018, teachers have been taken through the process of licensure, or taken through the process of giving the license for them to operate. And in most of the licensure examination, there were some weaknesses. That is why the licensing process does not end with the examination after you've gotten your card. Oh, I'm a licensed. No. That is why we are continuously having continuous professional development programs, so that these errors keeps happening even with professional teachers or those with certificates or those with license cards. The advent of technology has made so many errors. These are some of the weaknesses that was outlined in the licensure examinations. Of course, they are not limited to these only. Commas and full stop, apostrophe being put at the wrong place. And here, please let's read: teachers who teach in the urban areas becomes happy. What is a mistake here? All right, note it down. When a teacher do not get, what is a mistake here? Some of the rural areas does not have electricity. All right, so these are weaknesses that I will say. And please, let's do a quick dictation. Are you ready? Dictation. All right, fast. Number one, accommodation. Did you get it right? Infrastructure. Look at it. Portable. Potholes. eyesore, licensure. Please mark yourself. Did you get it wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What did you get? 5 out of 6. 6 out of 6. Congratulations. The purpose of this is to learn. So whatever you got, please relearn and unlearn. Thank you very much. So social media too, with the advent of autocorrects, the advent of ChatGPT, the advent of artificial intelligence, when time you are typing, it's write the correct thing for you. So most often than not, mistakes are being done here and there. Look at the spelling of yours, because all these things is influencing the way we write. So what efforts are we making? That is why we are saying that teaching professionalization does not end. It's a process. It's lifelong, and it continues as such. So these are some of the computational mistakes. You know, the licensure exam is not just mathematics, or it's not mathematics, but rather computation. So start of school day and end of school day, and 50% had this in the negative, had it wrong. Please calculate it and write it. All right, thank you very much. It's a teaser. Did you get it right? Also, what is the number of primary 6 pupils in 2 schools in the graph? 54%. Are you getting it correct, or are you getting it wrong? All right, thank you very much. This was the year that he was born, the year he completed university. Look at the strokes and kindly count accordingly. Is it right or is it wrong? Thank you very much. All right. So at this juncture, just want to say thank you very much. NTC is glad for your pursuing the CPD program. NCOPS as a service provider also want to congratulate you for this take-home tutorial for you to learn wherever you may find yourself. Once again, I'm simply Sir John, and I've been glad of service, and I wish you the best in ensuring lifelong learning. God bless you. Allah bless you. Thank you once again. We meet again for the next tutorial.